Hi Blades fans, welcome back to When Saturdays Come with me, Dry Bright. I hope I find you all well. I've had a good week and looking forward to the game against Preston North End on Friday night, which is going to be pretty much Bill Hecky versus Wilder show, isn't it? It's inevitable that's going to happen, but you know, loyalties are going to be not going to be divided on the day. You know, Hecky's going to want Preston to win, as Chris Wilder's going to want Blades to win. Head to head, I think Wilder's won twice, Hecky's won one, and drawn once against each other in a sort of a head to head, if you want to look at it that way. Preston come out of a game at Birmingham in midweek in controversial circumstances. Hecky not happy with the referee. We've been there, we know what that's about, don't we? And he's bemoaning the fact that we should have VAR in Championship. Really? No, Hecky, we don't want any VAR, as far as I'm concerned, in the Championship. But we know what it's like. I have some sympathy with Hecky, with referees. It's obvious what the standards are not great, but it is what it is. We have to forget the referees sometimes and look after ourselves and just play the game, don't we? And let the ref do his game. We will argue about all the other stuff on another day. Over the years, we've had the edge over Preston North End. We've played them, I think I wrote the stats down, we played them about 38 times. Preston have won 8 times, Blades 18 and 13 draws. And in the last 18, Preston have won 4, Blades 6 and 8 draws. So it's in sort of stats in our favour, but you know, it's on the day at end of the day. Stats count don't mean anything. I've just put them out there just to tell you what they actually been like. Preston's on form in the last 6. They've won 3, drawn 2 and lost 1, goals 7 against 4. Blades last 6. We won 2, lost 4, goals 4 against 9. But we can look at it in a different way. We've been down in the doldrums. We're now picking up a bit of form. The narrative's changing a little bit. The confidence is growing. We've got to build on that, you know. Chris Wilder's interview, presser coming out this afternoon. I'll tag it on to end of this, hopefully later on this afternoon. And we'll see what Chris has got to say up on the injury front as well. I'm sure it could be a little bit more positive. Hopefully Tom Davies should be back. Hamer's going to be out for a few weeks. Obviously, we know that now. We might get an update on that. So it's looking good. It's looking a lot better for Blades. It's looking. I think we can go to Preston with a bit more confidence. I think we'll get something out of the game. I really do. It's going to be a tough one. Preston are no mugs, are they? They're quite capable. They've got Ben Whiteman, former Blade, playing for Preston as well. So it's a lot of Blades connections in that game on Friday night. So look, let's just hope it works out for us and we can keep building. We've got to keep grinding results out. Look, I've said before in the week, it's a starting point. It's going to, you know, we're not totally out of the woods yet by a long stretch. It had to turn at some point. Chris is getting something out of the team now. Table. The Championship teams will be looking over the shoulder at us then, instead of us looking over our shoulder at the other teams. And we can keep moving forward and leading up to that January transfer window, which Chris Wilder desperately wants, don't he, to shift a few players out and bring a bit more quality in, hopefully on that. He's going to make some tough decisions. He's already alluded to that. We can speculate all we want. I just think I've got my own opinions on that. I think Cannon should go out on a loan or a perm. I think Barry should go back. I think Bindon should go back. And just my opinion, you know, I'd love to know what your thoughts are on that. Put them in the comments and let me know. But I'm looking forward to Friday then. Thanks for your support of the channel. It's still growing exceptionally well. The stats are really good on that. So over 2,000 subscribers now and growing at a really good rate. Thank you for everyone for your comments. Keep putting them in. I will reply to everybody, as you know I do. And I look forward to doing another video, post-match one, or after the game on Friday night or Saturday morning, and give you an update on that. We can talk about that. And let's hope we can have another great weekend with another Blades, a good performance and 3 points and taking us up that league table a little bit further. So thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Up the blades, like and subscribe as we always, and I'll speak to you soon after the Preston North End game.
They raised their levels. The levels weren't too bad first half, but they really raised their levels second half and went after the game and delighted with the 3 goals, the level, the intensity, the performance, and most importantly the result at the end.
And is Harrison Burrows kind of a good case study within all that, of somebody that was clearly maybe lacking a bit of confidence before, somebody that you've taken out the first team for a few, was the right decision as well, but somebody that's then come in and shown a bit, knows that he can deliver?
I say he wasn't the only one though. I think everybody was. I don't see anybody who has come through that period, the first 6 games, who could stick their hand up and said, you know, I've been all right, I've played quite well. So I think that group's quite a big group that he was in. So we had to make a decision, and I think realising as well for the best for him as well. You know, he's a talented individual. His second season in the division, he was outstanding last season. He was pushed all the way by Sammy, and Sammy deserved that opportunity. And Sammy's performance on Saturday was excellent, and his performance on Tuesday night was really good. We just felt that needed a bit more energy down that side, but certainly the decisions that we have to make, we could have made a lot more. And for those players, the Coopers and the Burrows and the other players, some have to come out of the team and some have to regain their form and confidence and belief in the team. But I am seeing signs, Campbell, O'Hare, Burrows and Sidney Peck, good signs from those players that were with us last year, that they're getting close to the form that they showed for the majority, if not all of the season last season. So yeah, delighted for H, and that's his standard that he should be playing at. We all know on the ball he's got some really good qualities. He's still learning his trade, and another young player that, as I said, second season in the Championship.
I was going to mention Callum, because that's now 5 goal contributions is the current phrase around goals and assists. People have talked about him needing to add numbers to his game, and he seems like he's doing that, because his overall kind of levels and the response from people this year has been really positive in terms of what he's brought to the team.
I think we all understand and know what qualities out of possession that Callum gives you, and in possession the qualities he gives you in terms of his mobility and his work ethic. But I'm asking the same questions, and we've asked the same questions. He asked the same questions of Gus. We've asked the same questions of Tyrese, all the players at the top of the pitch. We asked the question of Callum as well. You know, it's no good running around and nothing at the end of it. So there has to be contributions, there has to be assists, and there has to be goals. So adding to that is really key for us, because ultimately to decide a game, we've got to score, we've got to create, and we've got to score. So all our metrics and stats have gone way up on a lot of things. Out of possession, from a defensive point of view, they've gone up. We've just had a review of them this morning, and they're in the top 10 in possession as well. But the key is now, not just to Callum, but to everybody, to Harrison and everybody else, we need to keep nudging those numbers up. It's not always based on stats, we understand that, and games aren't decided always on that. There's always times a bit of luck and a bit of fortune, and refereeing decisions and goalkeepers' performances. So, but the metrics that we all look at, everybody's looking at right the way through football now, the positive ones. If you can keep nudging them up and keeping improving them, you're going to give yourself a better opportunity of gaining 3 points.
You gave Tom Cannon a start in the week. There's been some criticism from the fan base again around his performance levels. What does he need to do to properly kickstart his career at this club? Well,
it's been difficult for him because he came in, club signing in January, and we all pushed it through. 3/4 of the Championship were after him. Sunderland wanted him. We wanted him. the owners, in conjunction with the recruitment staff and myself, saw him as an asset for the football club. He's obviously not at the heights that we'd wanted him to hit, but he's working hard away from it. It was difficult for him when he first came into the team. He got an injury pretty early. Contribution at Derby. Played in a really good performance first half against Middlesbrough. Had to come off at half time. And then Tyrese took over really, and we had some good options at the top of the pitch. So struggled to force his way into the group, and yeah, he's looking to find his form, and we all want that to happen. In most importantly than anybody else. So of course, you know, he has to take the chances offered to him, whether coming off the bench or starting. And we need that competition at the top of the pitch. So he's just got to keep working away and keep believing. We believe in him. We're working with him on the training ground, working on him in the analysis room to improve his game. But it's arguably the most difficult position on the football pitch, and Tyrese has been outstanding for us last season, and you look now he's getting back to good form. So it's a big boys game as well. So I'm going to pick the players that I think needed to be picked in the right time and the right moment, and I thought that was the right time to give Tom an outing. And he's just got to keep working away, and whether he gets that opportunity, take it and impress from there.
Do you still believe he can very much be a success at this football club long term? Because he's obviously still a young player.
Well, he's still a young player, and everybody wants an instant. And I get it. It's not we're past that instant impact thing. So he's made it difficult for himself. He understands that, and yeah, there's some pressure on him, but I'm not going to decide a player's future off the back of 15 games at the back end of last season. I don't know how many he started, and games and you know, involvement for 5 games at 25 games. So there's always an opportunity, but he has to take those opportunities, and he understands that. He wants to be a success. He came here for a reason to try and push us towards the Premier League, which he did. Whether his contributions, and as I said, Tyrese's involvement, Kiefer's involvement, it was a difficult task to get into the team, especially when you're off the back of an injury. Rian was in and around it as well, and Callum as well. So, but yeah, I think he understands that. He understands the pressure on him. It only takes a run of games or a run of form to get himself back to where majority, if not all, of the Championship were after him. So that's not a cop out for me. But like I said, you know, Sunderland wanted him off a loan with an obligation to go up. So there were some good managers and some big teams that were after his signature. So we have to keep faith with him and keep working way with him. But he understands the criticism coming his way, and he accepts it, and we all understand that.
In terms of fitness, Tom Davies, is there still a chance that he could be involved at Preston?
Yeah, definitely an opportunity for Tom to be involved, which is great news for us. I was delighted with Tamari over the last couple of games. I'm delighted with Riedveld's contributions over the last two games as well. While he's back training as well, so he'll possibly be available for the Sheffield Wednesday game. He's just going through the rigmarole of a mini pre-season, which obviously he missed. So now that department's looking a lot healthier and more competition with Tom back. I think we've all seen glimpses of Tom in a Sheffield United shirt, and especially this season, his performance against Southampton for 60 minutes. And we were, you know, deeply disappointed that he couldn't have built on that, but that wasn't the case. And to get Tom back into the group with the experience that we needed, we talked about it in Ben Mee, you know, Danny Ings, those types of boys, Chad Bonnet being involved is good. It's good for the group, and it's a good feel about it.
Have you had some clarity on the timescales with Gus Hamer and how long he may well be out for?
Yeah, he won't make the weekend, so you know, we'll see where he is first. We'll give him every opportunity to make himself available. But he's a tough cookie, he's Gus. He doesn't miss many training sessions. He doesn't miss many games. So hopefully, you know, I'm not going to give anything away too much. Nobody usually does that to me, so we'll keep that under wraps. But if we can get him back, obviously, sooner than later, that's going to be a big boost to the group as well.
certainly appears to be better than potentially first feared.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was, Adam. It wasn't looking too great when him walking about with the brace on. So he's out of that brace. He's working away, and good to have him back because he's a really important player. But I think everybody's realised, especially over the last 2 games as well, that we're not a one-man band as well. So the results that we've had has been without arguably our best player, Championship Player of the Year last season. So the players that have come in and filled in and took it on themselves to raise their levels and show that we're not just based around one player.
A few people have asked about Ryan Oney. Is that just a selection issue?
No, he's been ill over the last couple of weeks, so he's back with us now. So yeah, there's Danny off the bench. There's been Tom Cannon off the bench recently. So I've got to cover all scenarios, making sure, and especially physically for the substitutions point of view, minutes is important because we are playing catch up with a lot of those players that came into the group late. So to cover the likes of Ben Mee, it's important that we have a centre half on the bench, and to cover the likes of Jaff and Mark McGuinness and Cheo, it's important that we have that competition and cover ourselves because we're definitely having to make physical substitutions at this point of the season, which is not ideal.
Looking forward to a reunion with Paul Heckingbottom on Friday night, Preston, and another good test. Yeah,
always similar to Blackburn Rovers test, another away test. It's been a difficult week for us, 2 away games, but we've handled the first 2 pretty well, and we'd love to handle the third one well. Know Paul well, so a lot of admiration and respect for Paul, and I'm sure people realise and understand that it was me who brought him into the football club because he's a good character. He knows the culture and values of our football club, and I'm sure he's trying to implement those cultures and values from his successful time here into Preston North End.
What do you make of the job that he's done there? Because clearly had a good start. Last season was quite difficult, but they've started well again, and just shows you maybe if you give people a bit of time, what they might be able to do.
Well, we're all after that consistency, aren't we? So yeah, there's been down days for Paul as much as the up days as well, but they've started the season on the front foot and got themselves into good position. But as the competition is, you can win games, but you can lose. So they've lost the last 2, and they'll not want to lose 3 on the spin as well. So we'll want to win 3 on the spin. They'll want to turn that around. So really competitive. I always, look at Preston North End squad, and it always is full of good loans and really experienced Championship players. So always a tough test home and away, and we're not expecting nothing else.
Thanks, Chris.
Cheers, Adam.
Hi, Chris. You mentioned Gyro there. I mean, we've seen a couple of appearances off the bench, haven't we? We've seen his impact on the pitch. What about away from the lights, as you talk about? What impact has he had behind the scenes and sort of freshening the group up, and his experience and that sort of thing? What's it been like?
Well, I always believe if good players return to training, that lifts the group. When I first came in, first training session Danny Ings was involved in, all of a sudden the standard went up a notch or 2. Tom Davies, when he came back, went up a notch or 2. So when good players come into a group, whether it's a training group or whether it's on match day, and especially ones with the experience that Jai's had in terms of 7 years in the Premier League, always good for our younger players to learn how players handle themselves, carry themselves, how they train, what the preparation's like, what the messages are about. He's not a shouter and baller, but he goes about it in a really professional manner. And as I said, when we signed him, trying to get him up to speed is key. But he's been working hard. He came here in a decent physical shape. His experience, his availability, his knowledge, his know-how of the position to cover that area was key, and to play in the Premier League. Yeah, he hasn't played 38 games for 7 years, but for him to be round a team in the Premier League who's been in there for what feels as if they've been in there for the last 10, 15, 20 years, isn't it? To be in and around a Premier League team and to work for the managers that he's worked for shows what they think about him, and he's impressed everybody.
It's obviously a short-term deal till January, isn't it? What is it you want to see from him in terms of a view to extending that? Is it just?
Well, no, we looked at the deal, and there was an enthusiasm for him to join the football club. So, however long the deal, whether it's a 4-year deal, whether it's a 3-month, is always an opportunity to impress. If boys have signed here, younger kids have signed here for 3 years, that doesn't mean they're going to be here for the next 3 years. They might be out in January if they're not doing the business for me. So, but all signs are from early assessments of the player on every level that he's here to extend that, and who knows. So all he can do is do what he's doing, affect the training, give me an option and a problem, and somebody who's really good from an experience point of view to be available, affect the results, which he certainly had. I thought he came in on Saturday and was that calming influence in the middle of the park, and made some really good decisions on Tuesday night as well. Straight into it, used his quality, used his experience and know-how. So if this turns into a longer deal, I wouldn't be at all surprised. He's enjoyed his first 2 or 3 weeks at the football club, and hopefully, we can have a longer association with the boy.
Yeah, I know you touched on Callum with Adam, but him and Gus have sort of always had that prior association together, haven't they, at Coventry? He came here, perhaps overshadowed might be the wrong word, but Gus sort of takes the limelight, doesn't he, as the key man sort of thing. With Gus out, is this Callum's time to sort of step forward, and is he do you get the sense he's trying to seize that
Well,
chance?
I think there's always a time for every player to step forward, especially after the start that we had, and when you lose big characters, experienced championship players like we lost in the summer, and now Robbo, Kiefer, Rian. Vinny's not a championship player, but he's still a really big player for us. When you lose that amount of players, other players have got to step forward and take their place, especially when they are characters like those guys. They're huge characters. Rian was a huge character. Robbo was club captain. Kiefer was. Vinny was, and El was. They're huge characters. So maybe that ones that just are underneath those group of players have to step forward, and most certainly when the start that we have, the experienced ones have to take that responsibility and drive the group. It's player led. I said it to the players this morning. Accountability is a big word. You can have the best coach, you can have the best coaches, the best manager in the world, but if the players are not prepared to be accountable for their performances, for the teammates' performances, for the direction of where they want to take it, then you're not going to get anywhere. And the good thing about it is that we're not saying that we've got the best coaches and the best manager in the world, but we've got people that understand the game and have had success. But we've got players that are on the same wavelength as us and want to drive it forward. So they have to be accountable for the changing room as well, which we've always talked about. So the likes of those boys stepping through. Gus was always going to get the limelight. He was a big money signing in the Premier League. Cal came on a free, even though there was loads of clubs in for him as well, and he played a part in a 92-point season. So just because Femi did all right last season, there's no shoe-ins, and he's not started the season off on the front foot like majority of players. So whether you get an opportunity because of numbers, whether you don't get an opportunity because the manager makes a decision, you have to alter that.
Yeah.
And adjust that by doing one thing, by any opportunity you got a chance to impress mentally as well. Maybe a little bit more different for Danny in terms of position that he plays, but managing the minutes, managing the loads is key. Maybe he didn't play as much at West Ham as what he'd have liked to have played, but still part of a group under David Moyes that was incredibly successful as well.
Hecky, you've obviously worked with him. You've followed each other's teams in your jobs. Do you feel as though you've both got similar views on the way the game should be played, and in that respect, Preston and Sheffield United are quite similar in the values?
I certainly wouldn't have brought somebody into my organisation who didn't have the same values and culture as what I've got, or what I think the area that we've been brought up might have something to do with it as well. So obviously he played for the dark side, which sometimes goes a little bit a little bit under the radar, but I've got to say I think he wiped out all that by achieving what he did for the football club. So always a tough game, and but it's not always. You know, a lot of northern managers have done well at southern clubs. A lot of southern managers have done well at northern clubs. You know, arguably our greatest ever manager, in my opinion, was Harry Bassett, who came from the deep south. So he's Cockney through and through, and brought a few players up with him, and the success obviously Harry had here was fantastic, and the reason why I think not just me, and I think the majority of Sheffield United fans will see him as the greatest manager in our lifetime.